In 2025, scientists made discoveries they were not prepared for, not because the finds were dangerous, but because they do not fit anywhere in our understanding of history or science. Some of these discoveries were announced publicly, then quietly walked back. Others were labeled anomalies and left unexplained. A few are still being debated behind closed doors, away from public scrutiny. What is unsettling is not just what was found, but that science does not yet have answers. The silence from the scientific community speaks volumes. These are 13 discoveries from 2025 that challenge everything we think we know, and the deeper you go, the stranger they become. Let's begin. Discovery 1. The structure beneath the desert. In early 2025, satellite imaging revealed a geometric structure buried beneath a remote desert region. The discovery happened almost by accident. Researchers were conducting routine topographical surveys when the anomaly appeared in the data. At first, researchers assumed it was a natural formation, perhaps an unusual rock layer or geological fault line, until follow-up scans showed something impossible to dismiss. Perfect symmetry, straight angles measuring exactly 90 degrees, and what appear to be internal chambers. The structure spans several kilometers. Its walls are uniform in thickness, and according to ground-penetrating radar, it extends down further than any ancient civilization should have been capable of excavating. What makes this discovery truly troubling is not just its size or complexity, but its depth. Based on the geological layers surrounding it, this structure could be buried beneath thousands of years of sediment. According to current timelines, no known civilization should have been capable of constructing something like this, especially underground, and especially at this scale. So far, no excavation has begun. Officials say it is due to logistical challenges and funding concerns. Others are not convinced. Some researchers who were part of the initial discovery team have stopped commenting publicly altogether. The coordinates remain classified. Discovery 2. The artifact that shouldn't function. A small metallic palm-sized object discovered in 2025 stunned researchers when it was first tested in a laboratory setting. The artifact, no larger than a human palm, was unearthed during what was supposed to be a routine excavation at a site already documented for decades. What happened next defied expectation. Despite being dated to thousands of years old using multiple independent dating methods, the object still reacts to electrical current. When exposed to even minimal voltage, it produces a consistent electromagnetic field, not a residual effect, not contamination. Active response. There are no moving parts, no visible circuitry, no wires, no batteries, no power source, and absolutely no explanation for how it works or what it was designed to do. The material composition is unusual but not impossible, a blend of metals that could theoretically have been smelted in ancient times, but the configuration and the precision of its internal structure, visible only under electron microscopy, suggest knowledge we have no record of. Multiple teams across 3 continents have tested it. No one agrees on what it was used for. Some believe it is a religious object. Others think it might have been part of a larger device. A few researchers have suggested it could be a form of energy storage we do not yet understand. And for now, science has no answer. The object sits in a secured facility, still functioning, still mysterious. Discovery 3. A scan that revealed something under a known site. One of the most controversial discoveries of 2025 came not from digging, but from modern scanning technology. When researchers used advanced LiDAR and ground-penetrating sonar to map a well-known ancient site that has been studied for over a century, they found something that should have been impossible to miss. A hidden structure, buried directly beneath the known monument. One never recorded in any historical documents, archaeological surveys, or excavation reports. The shape does not match burial chambers used by that culture. It does not match storage rooms, ceremonial spaces, or defensive structures. It does not match anything else we know from that civilization or that time period. The walls are thicker than necessary for support. The chambers are arranged in a pattern that suggests purpose, but archaeologists cannot determine what that purpose was. Access points are sealed from the inside, not collapsed, but intentionally blocked. Some researchers believe this hidden structure predates the famous site above it, possibly by centuries or even millennia. If true, that would completely rewrite the timeline of the region and challenge established narratives about who built the upper monument and why. Excavation permits have been filed. So far, they have all been denied. The official reason cited is preservation concerns. But sources close to the project say there is more reluctance than usual, as if officials are afraid of what might be found. What makes these discoveries disturbing is not that they are mysterious. It is that they keep happening, and each one raises more questions than the last, and we are just getting started. Discovery 4. The material science cannot identify. In 2025, a fragment recovered from an excavation was sent for analysis using the most advanced material testing available. The fragment was small, roughly the size of a coin, with a smooth surface that showed no tool marks or weathering patterns. The result? It did not match any known natural or manufactured material in the databases. It was not stone, because its molecular structure was too organized. It was not metal because it did not respond to standard metallurgical tests. It was not ceramic, not polymer, and not any synthetic material currently produced by modern industry. When subjected to spectroscopy, the material absorbed and reflected light in ways that should not be possible with its apparent density. Under stress testing, it demonstrated flexibility at low temperatures and rigidity at high temperatures, the opposite of what physics predicts. Researchers ran the tests again, and then a third time. The results remained consistent and inexplicable. They finally classified it as unidentified composite, a term that essentially means we do not know what this is, how it was made, or what it was used for. The fragment is currently being studied by materials scientists who specialize in anomalies. One researcher described it as something that exists in the gap between natural and artificial. No one can explain how ancient people created it or if they even did. Discovery 5. An ancient tool with modern precision. This discovery came from a tool dated far earlier than advanced metallurgy should have existed in that region. The tool itself is unremarkable at first glance, a blade functional in design, worn from use. But under magnification, something impossible becomes visible. The cuts along its edge are precise to tolerances measured in micrometers. The blade's edge shows no irregularities, no variations in angle. Each facet is identical to the next, ground with a level of accuracy normally associated with modern CNC machining or laser cutting. No known tools from that era should be capable of producing this level of accuracy. Forging, hammering, and grinding by hand would leave inconsistencies. Even skilled craftsmen using the best available ancient techniques could not achieve this uniformity, which raises an uncomfortable question. Were ancient people using techniques we have completely lost? Did they possess knowledge of precision manufacturing that vanished from the historical record? Or, and some researchers hesitate even to suggest this, did they have access to tools we have not discovered yet? The blade is currently housed in a private collection. The owner has refused to allow further invasive testing. Discovery 6. The site that does not match its environment. A newly uncovered site in 2025 does not belong where it was found. The architectural style, building materials, and construction methods do not match the region or any known culture from nearby areas. The stone used in its walls was not quarried locally. Geological analysis indicates it came from a location over 800 kilometers away. The layout of the site follows design principles that do not appear anywhere else in that civilization's known territories. Doorways face directions that make no astronomical or practical sense for that latitude. Interior chambers include features, channels carved into floors, and wall niches at specific heights, whose functions remain unknown. It is as if the site was built by people who came from somewhere else, brought their materials and methods with them, constructed this single location, and then left no trace of how they arrived, where they went, or why they were there in the first place. Carbon dating places the site within a known historical period, but culturally, linguistically, and technologically, it is an orphan. It does not fit. Researchers have proposed several theories: a forgotten trading post, a religious colony, an outpost of a civilization we have not yet identified. But none of these explanations account for the strangeness of the site's complete isolation and lack of connection to any other known settlement. It stands alone, unexplained. Discovery 7. Unexplained damage. At one excavation site, structures show signs of extreme force. Not erosion from wind or water, not structural failure from earthquakes, not damage from fire or warfare. The damage pattern is uniform, directional, and concentrated. Walls that should have stood for centuries are sheared off at identical angles. Stone blocks weighing several tons have been displaced meters from their original positions, yet the ground beneath shows no signs of being excavated or disturbed. Materials analysis reveals exposure to temperatures far beyond what natural fires could produce. Yet there is no scorching, no soot deposits, no indication of sustained burning. Just intense, instantaneous heat that fused certain surfaces while leaving others untouched. The pattern suggests an event, sudden, powerful, and brief. Scientists can describe what happened to the site. They can measure the forces involved and document the physical evidence. But when it comes to explaining how this occurred, or what could have caused it, the conversation ends. Some researchers have compared the damage to controlled demolition. Others note similarities to impact events. But no explosion, no natural disaster, and no known ancient weapon matches the evidence. The site remains cordoned off. Official reports list the cause as under investigation. That investigation has been ongoing for months with no updates. Up to this point, scientists could at least speculate. They could propose theories, debate possibilities, and explore alternative explanations. Discovery 8. The timeline problem. In 2025, radiocarbon dating placed an object thousands of years earlier than it should have existed based on its technological sophistication. When the results came back, researchers assumed laboratory error. They ran the tests again using different samples from the same object, and the dates stayed consistent. They sent samples to independent laboratories across multiple countries, and all returned the same approximate date. If the dates are correct, and there is no reason to believe they are not, then our historical timeline has a significant gap. A period where technological advancement happened faster than we thought possible, then seemingly disappeared or was forgotten. The object itself is sophisticated, with engineered joints, composite materials, and design features that suggest an understanding of physics and mathematics. Yet it predates the civilizations we credit with those discoveries by centuries. This creates a paradox. Either the dating methods we have relied on for decades are fundamentally flawed, which would invalidate thousands of other archaeological findings, or our understanding of technological development is incomplete. Some researchers have proposed that advanced knowledge emerged, was lost, and had to be rediscovered multiple times throughout history. Others suggest isolated cultures achieved breakthroughs that never spread beyond their immediate areas. But these are guesses. The data remains unexplained, and the timeline remains broken. Discovery 9. A structure too large to ignore. Satellite data from 2025 uncovered a massive formation hidden beneath dense vegetation in a remote region. The formation is visible only through specific types of imaging that penetrate forest canopy and reveal ground-level topology. What they found is enormous. The structure spans several square kilometers. Its perimeter forms geometric patterns, straight lines, precise angles, and circular formations, too symmetrical to be natural, too large and too deliberate to be accidental or the result of erosion. Yet no historical records mention it. No oral traditions from local populations reference a major construction project. No previous surveys or expeditions documented anything unusual in the area. The question that haunts researchers is simple but profound. How does something that big disappear from history? Structures of that scale require massive labor forces, years or decades of construction, and resource networks to supply materials and food. They do not just vanish. They leave traces, pottery shards, tool marks, and settlement remains. But aside from the structure itself, there is nothing. No signs of the people who would have built it. No evidence of the society that would have needed it. It is there. It is real. It shows up clearly in multiple independent scans, but it does not fit anywhere in the known historical record. Expeditions are being planned. Funding is being secured. As of now, the structure remains untouched, unexplored, and unexplained. Discovery 10, the sound phenomenon. At one site excavated in 2025, researchers recorded something they were not expecting. Unexplained low-frequency sounds, not equipment noise. All machinery was shut down during the recordings, not seismic activity. Monitoring stations showed no ground movement, not wind, water, animals, or any other environmental source. The sounds are rhythmic. They repeat at intervals. They are below the threshold of normal human hearing, but detectable with sensitive equipment. Acoustic engineers analyzed the recordings and confirmed the sounds are real, not artifacts of the recording process. But they cannot identify a source. The sounds seem to emanate from the structure itself or from deep beneath it. Some researchers have noted that the frequencies match patterns used in modern communication systems. Others point out similarities to naturally occurring resonances in certain geological formations. But none of these explanations account for the regularity or consistency of the phenomenon. What is particularly unusual is the reaction of the researchers themselves. Those who spend extended time at the site report feelings of unease, disorientation, and persistent headaches. Whether this is psychological or related to the sound frequencies remains unknown. Several team members have requested transfers to other projects. Some have stopped commenting publicly about their experiences at the site altogether. The recordings continue, the sounds persist, and no one can explain where they are coming from or what they mean. Discovery 11, a symbol system no one can read. Symbols uncovered in 2025 do not match any known writing system, cataloged by linguists and archaeologists. They are carved with precision into surfaces that should have been too hard to mark without advanced tools. The symbols are not decorative. They are organized in consistent patterns that suggest grammar and syntax. They are not random scratchings or artistic flourishes. Yet no linguist has successfully decoded them. Computational analysis has been applied, algorithms designed to detect patterns in unknown languages, and methods that have successfully deciphered ancient scripts before have been used. Nothing has worked. The symbols resist pattern recognition in ways that suggest they may not be a language at all, or they follow linguistic rules we do not understand. Some researchers believe the symbols might be mathematical or scientific notation rather than written language. Others think they could be mnemonic devices meant to trigger memories in people who already knew their meaning. But these are theories without evidence. The symbols remain exactly what they appear to be: deliberate communication that we cannot understand. They were carved by people who had something to say, and we have no idea what it was. For now, their meaning is a complete mystery. The longer researchers study them, the more complex and structured they appear to be. Discovery 12, evidence of intentional burial. Several discoveries from 2025 show clear signs of deliberate concealment, not burial by erosion, landslides, or natural processes, not accidental coverage by centuries of sediment. Intentional hiding. At multiple unrelated sites, researchers found evidence that objects and structures were carefully covered with materials brought from elsewhere specifically for that purpose. Fill dirt that does not match local geology. Stones placed to seal entrances from the outside. Rooms filled with debris in patterns that suggest human effort rather than collapse. Someone went out of their way to hide these places. Someone invested time, labor, and resources to ensure they would remain hidden. The question that troubles archaeologists is, what were they trying to prevent future generations from finding? Was it destruction by enemies? Looting by thieves? Protection of sacred knowledge? Or something else entirely? A deliberate effort to erase evidence of something that challenged the beliefs or narratives of their time? The concealment is so thorough at some sites that researchers believe it would have required organization and planning. This was not individuals hiding valuables. This was a coordinated effort by groups who knew exactly what they were doing. But why? And what else might still be hidden, waiting to be found? Discovery 13, the one that changes everything. The final discovery is not about a single object or site. It is about a pattern that emerged when researchers began comparing the findings from 2025. Across the globe, in regions separated by oceans and thousands of kilometers, unrelated archaeological sites are showing similar anomalies, similar materials that do not match known sources, similar construction techniques that should not exist in those time periods. Similar symbols and design motifs that suggest shared knowledge. These sites have no documented connection. They were not built by the same cultures. They do not date to the same eras. According to mainstream historical narratives, they should have nothing in common, but they do. The pattern is undeniable, and if these sites are truly connected, if there was contact, communication, or a shared origin between distant civilizations we thought were isolated, then it suggests something far bigger than isolated mysteries. It suggests a missing chapter of history, a network we have not discovered, a level of ancient human achievement and interaction that does not appear in any textbook. Science is still trying to catch up, still trying to explain how this pattern is possible without completely rewriting what we know about human history, cultural development, and the spread of knowledge across the ancient world. This is the discovery that changes everything, not because of what it shows us, but because of what it forces us to question about everything we thought we understood. Science thrives on explanation. It is built on the principle that observation leads to understanding, that mysteries are temporary gaps waiting to be filled with knowledge. But sometimes discoveries arrive before answers exist. Sometimes the questions multiply faster than solutions appear. And 2025 has produced more questions than clarity. What matters is not jumping to wild theories or embracing pseudoscience. What matters is not dismissing mysteries because they are uncomfortable or unexplainable with current knowledge. What matters is acknowledging that there are still gaps in our understanding. That history is written by those who record it, and there may be chapters we have never read. That human achievement might be more complex, more sophisticated, and more mysterious than we were taught. These 13 discoveries from 2025 do not prove anything definitive. They simply demonstrate that our understanding of the past is still incomplete. And sometimes, the most honest answer science can give is, we do not know yet. History may be far more complex than we were ever taught, And perhaps that is exactly what makes it worth exploring.